Hey, 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 everyone. We are here to share with you this evening a beautiful conversation between the two of us. I'm Dr. Mindy and Jaimo, and I'm with Homeschool Moms Academy. And I have my dearly beloved, amazing, wonderful friend, Jennifer Champion, with me. We have been friends forever. And we are here to we have been on this homeschooling journey together, and we have some beautiful insights to share with you and a topic to share with you. Just a little bit about what's happened in my life and what Jennifer's currently going through with her son. And so we're super excited to talk to you tonight about our children, about our experiences, and how that is going for us. But Jennifer, introduce yourself.
Hey, so I've been a nurse for 28 years. Um, Started out in conventional medicine. In the last 13 years, I transitioned over into holistic medicine. And when my children were born, my younger children, I started homeschooling. And so we've been on this journey of homeschooling and trying to do holistic medicine from home and just embracing, day by day what's been thrown our way.
That's exactly right. And I want to tell you a short story first. It's really a testimony to how Jennifer changed my life. I was actually in a ton of pain in my hips. I'd had some real stiffness, had a ton of inflammation going on. And Jennifer said, we went to a friend's house and we met for a weekend. And she's like, I can help you. Now, I had been and tried everything. I had been to doctors, I had gotten steroid shots, I had whatever the latest hip treatment was, I had done it with conventional traditional medicine. Nothing worked. I was in pain every single day. And I told Jennifer, I said, I'm in this. She's like, I can help you get rid of that pain. And she put together some supplements for me to take. And within a week, that pain alleviated. And honestly, I have been pain free since then. I am still totally on the regiment daily. That has it is affected my blood numbers in a very positive manner, and just totally taken that inflammation out of my body. So I'm able to live, just to exercise and to do what I need to do to live more healthy. So I do want to be a strong advocate for all of the teaching and study that she's done. I guarantee you, she can change her life. She did mine for sure. But let's talk about our subject tonight. So we want to talk about, so I'll start with Jennifer, maybe you want to start with what your current situation is, and then I'll just jump into how that impacted my life as well.
Okay, so one of the things I'm dealing with now is my little guy. He's struggling with some weight issues. I noticed it more so when he was turning 5. We, during the pandemic, I mean, I don't feed my kids junk. I really have never have. But I noticed that I think the stressful environment and then, snacks with daddy and lack of exercise and just kind of being, we were not really in a great place to where the kids could run around. Yeah, they could go swimming, but they're just not in a place where they could exercise. And he just began to really put on a ton of weight. And, and being a nurse and then, going into the holistic field, and I'm watching my little guy and like his stomach is getting bigger and bigger. And it breaks my heart as as a mom. And I'm like, Lord, how can I best help him? So, we're in a transition phase and we're working on, getting that extra weight off with some nutrition, exercise, other supplements and things that I have him on. But I mean, the last week or so, we've really implemented some holistic things. And I can say he's probably dropped about 5 pounds. I noticed a huge difference in him.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Let's talk about that a little bit. So I as well had a similar situation. My son was about the age of Jennifer's child and just put on a lot of weight, was very heavy, changed emotionally, mentally because of it, with the social pressure of being very heavy. He just became very heavy. Now, I have to admit, I have not lived the holistic lifestyle that Jennifer has as far as her eating. Like, my mom raised me. I didn't even know this until recently, but my mom never ate vegetables and never ate fruit. Like, we ate very much meat and potatoes. I was raised that way, and I raised my kids that way. So he put on a ton of weight. And so one of the things I wanted to talk about tonight was actually like what how is that mental pressure, like how is that affecting when a child knows they're overweight? How does that impact them mentally?
Well, I mean, it causes them to be shameful. I mean, it's like they look at themselves and they don't think that they're worthy, or they don't think that they're good enough.
Yeah.
And it causes their self-esteem to be kind of driven into the ground. It's like they can't look up and be happy because they see this person that they don't like in the mirror. And then they have, other little kids saying, oh, look, you're so fat. Look at all the weight that you get. I mean, and even siblings, could be mean and say those things, or, cousins, and they don't mean it to be mean, but I mean, they'll walk around, oh, Bubba, look at your big belly, and it's just, I mean, it gives them a lot of shame, and they don't feel good about themselves, and they don't know how to mentally cope with that either, and it's just, I mean, and I can see it in him, but I also see that as he's beginning to shed the weight, I see him getting a little happier too. And I think part of that's the vitamins as well, because some of that I think he was lacking.
Yeah.
But I do see his countenance changing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's good. And even growing up, I was a little chunky. I wasn't extremely overweight, but I did have people say to me, not even extremely overweight, just probably what would be normal now, would say very mean things like, if you would just drop 10 pounds, you would be like super beautiful. And that plays on your mind, that mental wariness, like I'm not good enough. I'm not enough, which really impacts your ability to walk into your future. So, as we talk about that, then what are some of the small steps that you have taken to help them kind of begin to walk this journey out?
Well, I mean, for emotional wise, I mean, I'm very careful with my word choices. So like I never call him fat, or I changed his name.
Yeah.
Um where he sorry, my kids are knocking on the door. Real life.
I know, right?
So like even his nickname from little, from when he was born, we would call him Bubba. Excuse me, you guys, I'm on a phone call. I'm on the computer. Go see your dad.
This is real life.
This is so real life.
Right? Can't live without mom for 10 minutes because
Miles is screaming and saying that she cut her leg open. So it very might be a legitimate thing, but I'm not running out there. John's in the garage. So even from little, like his nickname was Bubba.
Yeah.
And but I began to see, like, as he was gaining the weight, and he even got to the point where he was like, Mommy, I don't want that to be my nickname anymore.
Yeah.
So don't call me Bubba. So I mean, I made a point, John and I both made a point to change his name, and so I don't call him that now. I call him Bud, or I just call him by his name, because I just even see how that affected him. And other things that we do, is like John won't call him. We don't call, John is very careful too. And he would like, well, buddy, you're just chunky, or not chunky. What does he say? Husky. He says, you're husky like I was when I was kiddo. So we don't choose the word, fat or thick, or,
Yeah.
And then, I'm always trying to speak out positive affirmations for him, so he believes in himself, even in the mirror. Part of our whole homeschool regimen is to speak those things. And now it's good to the point where he recognizes them and he knows them. And so, he'll just say them on his own, well, I'm smart and I'm intelligent, and, I have wisdom beyond my years, and it doesn't matter what I look like. And, so he's starting to realize that, it doesn't really matter on the outside what I look like. And then of course we've done diet changes. I've taken almost all of our breads out of the diet. Like, I mean, and I generally don't eat bread either, but he loves bread.
Yeah.
So, it's a struggle for him. I mean, that's just real life. Like even tonight, I made burgers quick. John's the only one that had bread because Ryan didn't like it, and I don't eat bread. And Mom's was like, "Well, I want a bun." I'm sorry, buddy. Part of your diet plan is that you're not having bread.
Right.
He didn't like it, but that's just one of the big things that we've cut out, and I've cut out sugars.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we just, as much as we can, just I don't feed them refined sugars at all.
Yeah.
Just because it affects their attitude and it affects their body balance.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that is such a revelation. When I was growing up, my brother and I, we had Kool-Aid all the time. My
Yeah.
mom didn't know any better. In fact, I think there were commercials at that time that said sugar is good for you. So we grew up in this atmosphere of eating sugar all the time.
Yeah.
So again, I transfer that to my children, but there is a stopping point. So now we've all kind of detoxed from sugar, and I'm detoxed from the breads now. We don't have bread in our house very often. So huge changes in diets make a big difference. But also, let's talk about the exercise aspect. I'm actually going to have my son on next week. So I want him to talk about his testimony of how he dropped all of that weight on his own with the mind shift. But part of that was the exercise. So talk just a little bit about that. Like, what's Miles doing with his exercise?
So every day he has to set a goal for his body, and he's very persistent about taking care of that part because he knows that if I take care of my body, I'm going to look better. So, and I tell him, well, you have to pick an exercise that's going to be good and it's going to benefit, helping you get that weight off your belly.
Yeah.
And so, he sets his goal, and it's a goal for him that's attainable. But sometimes it's way more than what an adult would even attempt to do. Being a 6-year-old child, like he'll do 70 to 100 sit-ups. I mean, and as soon as he writes his goal, he was like, "Okay, Mom, let's get on the floor. It's time to do sit-ups." And it's like sometimes I'll exercise with him and I'll just be silly and we'll have fun, but it keeps it moving, and he laughs and he knows that, I got to take care of my body. And then he'll go outside and ride his bike. But it's the point of giving him the opportunity to create the goal and letting him do it because he said it, and it's not a forced activity.
I love that. I love that he's setting the goal and then he's doing it. It's a total training process.
Yeah.
Not only that, but you guys have been doing some big hike days. Talk a little bit about that, because one of the things I've realized is between your steps and core, like that's really huge. So talk about those hike days and how that's been going.
Yeah, so every Tuesday we try to meet up with a homeschool group, and they have hikes. Sometimes we do anywhere between 5 and 6 miles of hiking, and it's not just really easy terrain. Sometimes it's going up mountains, and but both the kids, I mean, they'll shrug it and they'll do it. I mean, and they look forward to it. They like to be outside, and having other children to accompany them makes a big difference as well. So I mean, I can just encourage moms to have other homeschool groups, or even if it's just a couple of children. It gives them something to look forward to, but also gives them companionship of, well, it's not just Mom and me, and but there's other kids that are willing to participate. But I mean, we love the outdoors anyway, and so it's good, and it's great exercise for the body.
Absolutely. And, I think that is just a mindset that we all need to travel with going forward. Like at the beginning of the year, I had some own mind shifts for myself around getting a certain number of steps. And that's just something that we need to remind ourselves of daily. Like, am I getting the steps? Am I sitting too long? Am I doing my workouts with the core? It's a lifestyle. So the sooner we can teach that lifestyle to them, the better to make that happen. So let's talk about then a little bit about some of the supplements that you have been using. What does that consist of? What does that look like for moms who might be interested, who might be going through the same thing? What are some things that have helped you?
Well, the most recent one that I've started Miles on is called a Slenderize drop. And so what it is there's a drop that you take, and for kids, it's half the dose of the adult. So he takes a drop, he lets it sit 30 seconds under his tongue, and then he has to wait 10 minutes. And then I give another drop. And this actually has all the vitamins in it. It has vitamin B, areola fruit, and some other things, some green tea extract. And So the first drop, actually, what it does, it goes into the cells and it burns the fat tissues. So the adipose fat tissues that sit there all the time, it goes into the cells. It helps them burn it as energy. And then your body can use that instead of using all your food. It burns up that extra fat, so it releases it out of the body. And then the other drop with the vitamin is also an appetite suppressant, so it causes them not to be as hungry or craving the foods that they normally do. So that's just one thing that we're doing. I mean, I do other slew of vitamins, but for right now, I mean, this is the thing that we're working on, and really being diligent to do it. And when we follow a 1,200 calorie diet with it, and there's an approved food list, and I mean, most of it is just, your proteins, your vegetables, what you can have for condiments. Like the breakfast is 2 proteins and a fruit portion. Then you have a snack mid-morning fruit portion, a half an avocado or a nuts. And then you have a lunch of a protein, 2 vegetables, a snack in the afternoon. They say to eat no fruits after 1 just because of the sugar. And you want your sugar levels to kind of, not be spiking in the later afternoon. And then you have 1 protein and 2 vegetables, and then a snack protein in the evening. So, I mean, it's a pretty simple diet plan. You just, you have to be diligent to follow it.
Yeah, I love that. I love keeping it simple: proteins, vegetables, proteins, vegetables. And then again, just being cognizant of those things that you're doing and the exercise, and just building that into your lifestyle. If you, I know that this was frustrating for me as a mom to have an overweight child and to see them carry that heaviness, that burden. But if you had, I know I can't be the only mom. You're not the only mom who's going through this, that may have a child who's overweight. And it's really a struggle. But if you had one piece of advice for moms in this particular situation right now, what would that be from your perspective, where you are right now?
Be as supportive as you can emotionally. I think that's a huge difference. To speak positive to your kids and be diligent to, fight for them. They're your babies. You want to do what you need to do to take care of them. And if that means, I'm coming in as strong mom and I'm ripping away your sugars, well, that's what you got to do, because you have to take care of your kids. Because if you don't, it's going to affect the brain. They're going to have inflammation. They're going to have diseases. And I mean, we don't want to carry that burden either.
Yeah, absolutely. That's great. And I do want to again say that next week, so my son is grown now. He's in his 20s, and he inspires the rest of us now to live a more healthy lifestyle. He goes to the gym every day. Him and his brother go to the gym every day. They're constantly exercising. They're totally fit. They look fantastic. But again, the struggle that he went through, I can't wait for him to share that with you next week. But I do want to also just remind folks, I'm putting Jennifer's email here, integrativehealingandwholeness@gmail.com. I would encourage you to reach out to her and to have a conversation, to build a relationship. If you're going through the same thing, that you're really struggling, maybe with yourself or maybe with your children, the weight issue. I mean, it's a huge issue. I see women who are slender, and every time I lose weight to the point that I actually want to be, it feels like, okay, now I can live my life because I'm not worried about this weight and what people are thinking and how my clothes are looking. So it's a freedom that you embrace. So being able to live in that freedom, being able to live pain-free is huge.
Huge.
And that's definitely something that Jennifer can consult with you on and help you to get your body actively working every day to the full measure, so that you can fulfill the journey that you've been called to fulfill.
Yeah, it's amazing, and I love to see people, I would love to see their lives transform. When I went into the nursing field 28 years ago, that was my heart's desire, is to really take care of people. And then when I stepped out, because I couldn't poison my patients anymore, and going the holistic route, it's such a difference in how you're giving life back because their lives are changing. You know, you're not giving them medications with side effects that are eventually going to kill them. You're giving them a chance to live free and to have their life back, to regain, you know, things that they've lost in their health. I mean,
Yeah.
and health is everything.
It is totally. And the body is such a beautifully made healing machine. But being able to have that knowledge to heal your body is it's half the battle, right?
Yeah.
So it's just such a wonderful journey. And I know that you're just going to have an amazing testimony off of this for your children.
Yeah.
And so thank you for coming.
No, thanks for having me.
We're going to do it again next Wednesday night at 8 p.m. And we're going to have Luke on with us, and he's going to join us and tell his testimony and just tell us kind of like what he went through mentally and how he viewed life as a heavy child, as an overweight child, and then how he shifted from that into now living a lifestyle of fitness. So, all right. Thank you so much. And we will see you next week. Take care
Bye.
for now.